why you want my name badge back. Is this next week going to walk around as Caroline Barker? Thank you all for a fantastic day. I'm losing my voice a bit, which shows we've been talking a lot today, but there's just a little bit more talking to do. This is kind of like the bit at the end of the school term when you get to play games for a bit. So you'll be invited to ask a few questions of the panel as well if you want to, so store those up. But if we can welcome up to the stage Mark Warburton, the Brentford boss, Dana Chef from Sky, Scott Fields from the FA, Jazz Hervin and Michael Kinley, with two mentees as well. You can stand next to me. No. One of you stand up. So the idea behind this is just to give you a little reflection on the day, how it's gone, and perhaps how we can look, maybe to do things differently in the future as well. But, Scott, we'll start with you because we're at your home. Quite a lovely abode you have here. Oh, well, one step into it. That's how hard you work. You get the sleeping bag out at night. For you, Scott, is your microphone working? Come up here. Is the handheld working? Oh, well, you can go back down there. For you, Scott, I know that we're always surprised about the level of questions that we get throughout the day as well, but also the variety of people that I imagine you've seen today.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. I mean, I think if you're in the mentor's position as well, it's great to see so many different people with such a great attitude first and foremost. I mean, there are so many inspirational people as I look around this room, and actually talking to some of the mentees, you realise there's so much you can learn still as well. You know, one or two of the people that I've spoken to, I'm actually going to go out and hopefully see in their environment, see what they do to bring back here. You can all learn so much, you know, I do every day. You know, I'm sitting around people that are doing exactly the same, I'm absolutely sure. So for me, it's great to, you know, get some more contacts, to further those relationships, and to help where I can, but, you know, also to get some feedback the other way, if you like.
For those that weren't fortunate enough to have a quick word with you, you're living proof as well of hard work and working your way up and going through gets you to your dream job in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm remarkably privileged to have the job that I have, you know, to walk into this building every day of my working life, and you know, I always look at everyone else's reaction when they come here, and it's such an inspirational place. It genuinely is, and for me to be able to walk in here every day and to remind my colleagues of how important it is to be able to walk in here every day and enjoy it. You know, I mean, we're working in football. It's one of the most you know, fantastic industries, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think, you know, what's been great, I used the word before, is you've seen the attitude of so many people here that have taken the time out of their own days to come here, to put themselves in front of us. And I think that's a big step. It's so easy just to be passive and sit back, and Clark talked about it before, wait for it to come to you. But, you know, there are people here that are asking for it from us, and for me, that's exactly the attitude we want. I talk to everyone about, you know, when we hire people at the FA, when we're lucky enough to do that, the jobs don't come around too often, but, you know, I kind of take it for granted that people can do the job in some respects. You know, you get your qualifications, you work hard in that, but then I look at the people, and I look about, you know, I want to see how positive they are, I want to see how they're going to fit into the team ethos, I want to see that they've got integrity, I want to look them in the whites of the eyes and know that they're going to enjoy it as much as we enjoy it. And I think you see that in everyone that's here today. They're here for a reason, and that goes such a long way. And for me, if you can exude that, you can show that when you go for jobs up and down the country, when you're speaking to people, when you're forming new relationships, it will hold you in really good stead, and it will also make you stand out from the others.
Passion and work ethic. Jazz next to you's got just that. You had a fair old journey. Was it 4 o'clock this morning you set off?
Yeah, 4 o'clock this morning from Devon.
So you're one of the mentees. What's it been like for you?
To be honest, it's been great. It's my first year here, and it's been great learning from, obviously, I I'm not going to say the older people, but maybe the more experienced people in the field that I would like to work in when I'm older.
And for you, was it about meeting people, the jobs that you want to go in, but actually getting those useful questions where you need to go next, the next steps that you need to make?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Troy suggested, obviously, before you get to meet your mentor, really plan the questions you're going to ask, so you make sure you use those 15 minutes wisely and get as much out of it as you can.
If we can pass the microphone along to Mark, we'll go this end first. Well, it's not Mark, but here's Mark. Mark, Wembley's alright, isn't it? No Griffin Park. But for you guys, being here as a manager too, and on the different side of it as well, everyone wants to be not everyone, but lots of people want to be football managers. So it's a really different thing at achieving the level that you get to. What's your tip for those that want to be great?
I've just spoken to 5, 6, 7 people there. Most of them said, I love football, I want to be a coach, how do I get into a professional club? And you have to differentiate yourself. You get 50 CVs a month, level 1, level 2, up to A licence. So how do you differentiate yourself? The fact you're here and you're keen to do it is fantastic. And it shows, as Scott said, you have initiative, you have drive, you have passion. You have to show that to the football people. So if there's 100 CVs, why should they pick out your CV? What are you doing differently? Something on the page, the way in which you approach it, it may be down to just common courtesy. It's as simple as that. But they look at it and say, I'll have a word with you. Get the interview and your passion hopefully comes across. If you're here today, you're passionate about what you do. So that should come across, your body language, your approach, your appearance. Go there and say, I can add value to what you do. And if you do that, you're there.
We talk a lot in media, at least, about being a brand and seeing yourself as a brand. You know, no one wants to see themselves necessarily as Nike or McDonald's or whatever it might be. But you do actually, whatever form of work you're going into, you have to think of yourself as, how am I selling myself?
Absolutely, and you're competing against other individuals. So as I said, there may be 2 jobs there. Scott mentioned jobs come across, you know, they're few and far between. So when a job comes up, why should I hire you? And it really comes down to that. So it can be your appearance, your manner, your drive, your knowledge, your qualifications. Think to yourself, would you hire me? It really comes down to that.
But also accepting that you might have to take a step sideways, backwards into another area to find eventually where you want to go.
Absolutely, it can be, as I say, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not a quick fix. Take the time, set your targets, short, medium, longer term, and try and give yourself a realistic chance of achieving those targets.
Let's see what your throw's like. See if you can lob it down to Domish at the end there. You know all about this, standing up and speaking and tough interviews and the like at Sky.
I need a touch screen though.
Yeah, I know, we couldn't afford the Skypad. Is it something like £2,000 an hour, isn't it? Something like that? Ridiculous? I heard it was a lot.
Oh, now you've scared me.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Don't ever drop it if you lift it. For you today and meeting the different people that you've met as well, what's the kind of the one tip that people have enjoyed hearing or has made people sit up and think, oh yeah, I didn't think of that?
Well, it's something that was said at the beginning of the day from Clark. I just wanted to echo what he said, was you're going to knock on a lot of doors and you're going to get it slammed in your face. Just be persistent. But the most refreshing thing that I've seen from all the people that I've met today is that's already ingrained in them. They're so persistent at the start of their career that it can only bode well for later on. And at times it was like I was the mentee. I don't know. I can learn from them, like Scott said, and a couple of them, unfortunately, were saying, look, I'd love to do the job you're doing, and I've just given them advice on how they can get my job, so I could be in a bit of trouble, unfortunately.
Healthy competition, that's what we all need. Michael, alongside you as well, I don't know whether you had as far to come as some of our mentees, Jazz in particular, but for you, what's today meant?
For me personally, it's been an inspiration, and I feel as though like everyone else in the room, every mentee in the room can feel the same way, because when you're actually face to face, like you don't realize who you're in front of, like, you know, the people that are in front of the manager of Brentford. I mean, come on, how many of you don't get that opportunity every
You've been
day?
showing him some tricks and saying sign me up.
Not really, but you know, it's a great opportunity, and I'm sure like I'm gonna remember this for a long time. And I've met some amazing people, but really amazing people, and they've given me the opportunity that I wanted. I mean, I'll give them a question, I'll be like, oh wow, I've got this for you, I've got that for you. You know, take this detail, take this. I mean, you don't meet many people like that in the world, and I really thank Raise Me and Raise Your Game for bringing these mentors here today. They've been brilliant. They've been really brilliant and helpful.
I echo that, thank you. Does anyone have a question for any of the panel? Anything you weren't able to ask them at the time or able to see them? Yeah?
My name's Elijah Miles Marion. I just wanted to direct this to gentleman from the FA, Scott Field. Scott Field, this question for you. We had Lord Ousley open this afternoon's session with effectively a challenge. Shall I wait for the mic?
Sorry about that. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, as I was saying, Scott, we had Lord Ousley open the afternoon sessions with a challenge to what I like to call the old orthodoxy. As a representative of the FA here today in the capacity that you currently hold, I wanted to ask, given that we are with one of the leading stakeholders in terms of diversity and equality, how you see the FA moving forward with some of the challenges that they face, not just in respect of the issue that may be current in most people's mind at the moment in terms of managers, but also at the corporate governance level, as Lord Ousley spoke about. And just for the other panellists, what would they say was their key experience that they want to take away from today?
Thank you.
I think those mics are on, Scott. Are they on? Hello?
There you go. Give it a tap. Yeah, that's working. Yeah.
It's a great question. I think, look, where Lord Ousley is absolutely correct is that there is a challenge out there. There's a challenge for the FA, there's a challenge for other bodies, there's a challenge for clubs, there's a challenge for all of us, isn't there? So, you know, I can't sit here and say anything other than echo, you know, much of what Lord Ousley said. And you're absolutely right when you talk about, in some respects, an orthodoxy that we've got to get around, you know, that we've got to break down. This is part of it. You know, it's a small part of it, absolutely. Can the FA do more? Yes. Have we got a plan that's now in place that's trying to do more the whole of the time? Yes. You know, can I say that it'll be delivered tomorrow? Not at this moment in time, no. But what I'd like to give you a sense of is an FA that's working hard around this. We're going to get challenges along the way. There are going to be bumps in the road along the way. We've seen some of them. You know, the one thing that's interesting about the game of football is it always throws up something new, something we didn't expect. You know, that when I look at the type of work that I do around the media in particular, and I use an example from this season, you know, I was sat at home watching my team West Brom play West Ham, and Nicholas Anelka used the canal gesture. Now, it's not anything that anybody in this room, I don't think, necessarily would have been able to explain to me, and that just demonstrates the sort of issues that are going to face the FA along the way. What we can't let that do is detract from our day-to-day work that, you know, helps impact what we're all, you know, trying to do, which is help every, you know, area of our football community, every area of our society get the opportunity to enjoy football, to take part in football, to have a place in football, to have a job in football. So absolutely challenges there. It would be remiss of me on behalf of the FA to sit here and say there aren't, and there aren't things that we've got to do more of and got to do better. We absolutely have. I'd like to think this is a small part of us moving down that road, but it's a great question. I think there is more to do.
And the second part of that question, maybe we'll start with you, Jazz, was just what you'll take away from today.
Hard to nail it down with a few words. Definitely, I feel that personally I'm a very kind of motivated and enthusiastic person, and I think today has definitely just boosted that again. You might find a day on your journey to your ultimate goal where you feel a little drop, maybe you've had a knockback, met a challenge, and you don't quite know how to overcome that. And it's days like today and meeting all of you guys, meeting the mentors and the other staff delivering the workshops that really give you that boost to go again and just help you strive towards your goal and, you know, keep motivated and keep passionate about what we're doing. So I'm definitely going to take those qualities away from today and just help me even further.
Michael?
I think the most important thing I'm going to take out of today is to be persistent. I think that's been like it's been a ringtone in my head, because a lot of the mentors they were very honest with me. They were like, it's not just you can't just walk into, you know, what you want. You can't, you've got to keep knocking, you've got to keep going. And I think that's something everyone here has got to take away with, knowing that it's not going to be easy to get, you know, your dream job. You've got to keep going, you've got to keep knocking, and eventually the opportunity will come. And I think obviously this is a great start. So it's brilliant that everyone that's here took the opportunity to be here, because it's the start of something. So yeah, that's what I'm taking away from today, consistency.
We'll get the thoughts of the mentors in just a few moments. Does anyone else have any other questions for the panel? I guess, Mark, just from me, whether you feel that the work that Kick It Out is doing is actually filtering down to you on the sidelines and to what you're trying to achieve at your club?
Absolutely, very aware. The players are importantly are very aware as well. It's an important part of it. Sometimes it comes to one contact point at the club and it doesn't filter through the whole system. But as happened, rest assured, from our perspective, it goes right the way down to our youngest player, our oldest staff members. So it's such a vital part of the game now. And we have to be aware and keep pushing forward. And the moment we stand still, then we fail. So it's constantly striving for the next level.
And key to have role models as well. Do you certainly feel that with the younger players as they're coming up through as well, that they need those people to look up to?
Yeah, absolutely. It's highlighting why they're the role models. Players within your own club, players in the Premier League, players overseas, why they're the role model. What do you like about them? And try and find out the key factor, the key aspects of that individual's character that the kids latch onto. And we have to utilise that and hopefully enhance it as well.
Anyone got any more questions for Mark? Dharmesh, I wondered if I could just ask you as well. I'm not making you the sole spokesman for Sky, but sometimes the media takes, and we had a discussion about this morning, there's criticism for perhaps not treating sports stories on their merits. So you might, for example, put a story top because it involves a men's football team, but a women's football team might have just done something incredible, broken a record or whatever it might be. When it comes to diversity in sport and telling those stories in what order they rank in what Sky are doing, how does it work?
Well, I think you take each story on its merit. I think Sky, I can only speak on behalf of Sky Sports News, I think Sky Sports News have moved on from just thinking it's a football channel or whatever. I think we're taking each major event on its merit, so even if it's not live on Sky, I think we've made a conscious effort to, for example, when the Olympics are on, when the World Cup's on, we'll do everything we can but show the action, because we haven't got the rights to show the action. But I think we're making a conscious effort to move towards that way. And I think people will have noticed that compared to when we started back in October '98 now. It's moved on in the last 16 years, and I think it's getting to the point where each story is being broken down into its merits, and if a story deserves the top billing, it will get the top billing whether we've got the rights for that story or not.
Yeah, I saw an advert this week for what's coming up this week, and it was football and it was Formula 1 and it was netball in there as well, which I think is probably one of the first times that's been highlighted as well on the channel. Scott, just briefly from you, is there more you think that the media could do to be pushing all levels of the game and not just going for the big money winner that's the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the easiest part of my job is to sell the England brand, if you want to. I mean, I don't have to go very far or work very hard to talk about England or get an England story out there. What we do have to work really hard at is to get the grassroots stories told, to shine a light on that, to shine a light on some of the issues that exist at that level of the game. And we need the media's help and support in doing that. I have to say, it's not, I think increasingly the media are getting that agenda. Interesting talking about Sky. What I find quite heartening at the moment is I could turn on the TV and see Rachel Yankee analysing a Premier League game on Sky as one of their pundits, and that's a huge change that we've seen in the last season. The Sports Women programme on a Tuesday allows us a new outlet again. BBC similarly across the platforms. We're starting to see, certainly some parity between the men's and women's game, even in small part, in some areas of the media. I still think that one of the biggest challenges for us is grassroots and making sure people really understand the importance and value of that as a story, because without that we don't get people moving up into the elite levels of the game. Mark doesn't get his academy fed with young players that might then go on to make his first team. you know, we can't afford to neglect that as a story. But you know, that's hard work. But it's incumbent on us as an FA as well to push that agenda. You know, we've got to work as hard as the media to make sure people are alive to that.
If no one's got any more questions, I'll just ask for your final thoughts then, really. Mark, if we start with you, I take it you'll come back next year if you're invited?
Absolutely invited, I'd love to come back. What I take from today really is not underestimating the importance of a good opportunity. It wasn't long ago we flew in a minibus at the academy and pumping up footballs, and I'm very fortunate to be in this position now today of managing the first team. So the importance of a good opportunity will never be underestimated now, and you come to an event like this and you speak to people, the hunger, the passion, the drive, desire, all those words come across so very clearly. So for me, recognise we're in a good position now, and we must make sure we offer opportunity as and when we can.
Dharmesh, anything else that you'd like to add?
To be honest, I didn't know what to expect when I arrived. I mean, I looked at the tables, I thought it was a speed dating event to start off with. But I've got the feeling that I've got ticks all over the place after. It was quite inspirational, actually.
I didn't even see you when I gave you a tick.
Exactly. But it's, I mean, the organisation like this is about breaking down barriers, but every person that I've spoken to today doesn't see it as a barrier. It's only from personal experience from everyone I've spoken to today. They see it as an opportunity, which I find the most refreshing thing out of today, and I'd love to come back next year, if invited, of course.
We'll mark you down. Thank you all for being part of the panel as well. Thank you to you guys for your help today, for your questions as well, and for being so open to those conversations too. We hope to see you again next year, and stay in touch, of course, with all things that Kick It Out do via the website and on social media too, so make sure you tweet as well. Clark, just let me jump. You can come back up. Thank you.